Oh, we're back. Breaking down another UFC card. We got a pay-per-view this time. It's UFC 315. Belal Muhammad versus Jack Della Maddalena. Pretty decent card. It's not overstacked per se, but pretty decent. There's quite a few fights that are going to be interesting. Quite a few that not necessarily title implications, but they're not far from it. One in particular that's probably about one remove from it. So we'll see what happens on that. See how they shake out. See if anybody gets put in title contention. But yeah, pretty decent card. We'll get straight into it. A couple that we are not even going to bother with because I'm not either super interested in it or it's close enough that I think you'd be better off just enjoying the fight. Don't get in there and put some money on it, then get too vested, and you end up sometimes sucking the enjoyment out of fights because you're pulling one way or the other. But first fight of the night, first one we actually broke down here, Brad Katarna versus Bekzat Almakhan from Kazakhstan. We broke this one down, one, because we're familiar with Brad Katona from watching him from The Ultimate Fighter, and two, my jiu-jitsu coach is from Kazakhstan, so we try to support those guys, keep an eye on them, see how they're doing. So we've been watching Bekzat. We've seen one of his other fights. Pretty decent prospect here, but as far as breaking it down, let me pull these guys up. We'll get them on SureDog as well so that you can kind of see their stats while we're going through it. Old Brad Katona, 33 years old, so kind of in his prime, but it's a point in his career where it's like, all right, we want to start moving towards the title, or it's probably never going to happen, or at least the chances certainly drop off. 14-4, he's got one knockout win, 3 submission wins, 10 decisions, and he's got 4 decision losses to his name, so never been finished, which is pretty decent for the amount of fights that he's got. Coming off a decision loss to Gene Matsumoto, who's pretty decent prospect, so that's nothing to shake a stick at or anything like that. Nothing to scoff at. Losing to Gene Matsumoto, I think that's going to be one of those that's going to age pretty well as his career goes on. But prior to that, had a decision win over Jesse Butler, and then a decision loss to Missouri's own Garrett Armfield, so I was rooting for that guy. Brad Katona is pretty basic meat and potatoes fighter. He's not doing anything too fancy, throwing a lot of 1-2s, low kicks, a lot of clinch against the cage and pressure. Got good hips, good at stopping the takedowns, pretty good wrestling in his own right, but really nothing to write home about. He's like a 80 stats all over if you're playing with him in the video game, maybe like 78, 80, something in that range. I do think he's got decent fight IQ. That might be actually his best stat, is his ability to win a fight, to do the things that it takes to win a fight, be it slow down the pace, pick up the pace, put the pressure on somebody or pull it off, circle out, buy some time and regroup. He seems to really have a good gauge on what it's going to take to win a particular fight and able to pull it off, make it happen. So Brad Katona is pretty damn good. I noticed he has a nervous tick. He was pawing at his nose quite a bit in the last fight. Seemingly pretty decent chin. He did eat quite a few big shots from Matsumoto. His hands would get a little wide, and then he'd eat something straight down the middle. Good elbows in the clinch, good knees in the clinch. Overall, pretty well-rounded fighter. Not the fastest or most powerful striker, I would say. Maybe those are the two things he could probably stand to work on, which power, that's one of those things that they always say, you're kind of just born with it, or you can develop it, but you can't. If you don't have it, you just don't have it. But he's going against Bekzat Almakhan from Almaty, Kazakhstan. 27 years young buck. 11-2, 9 knockouts, 1 submission, 1 decision win. He's got 1 submission loss and 1 decision loss. What is his most recent? Oh, that's right. He had the decision loss to Umar, which is all right, well, if you're going to lose to somebody, you wanted somebody with a name like Umar Nurmagomedov, one of the better ones in the division, just came off of a loss himself decision to Marab for the title. So it's all right, that one aged pretty damn well, I would say. He also dropped Umar, if I recall correctly. Caught him pretty early, clipped him. I want to say it was either across the side of the head or behind the ear, clipped him and wobbled him pretty good. Not the most active fighter. Been out for a minute, as you can tell, almost a year. March of 24. Actually, a little over a year. A year and 2 months. what do we got for notes on this guy? Great rear leg kicks. Goes high and low with them. Mixes them up pretty well. Did catch Umar. Dropped him, or at least wobbled him, if nothing else. The fact that he got out-grappled as bad as he did, but yet still managed to survive was pretty impressive. Umar was getting a lot of takedowns and getting into dominant positions pretty early, but yet still not able to get the finish on Bekzada. He's pretty defensively sound there. So it's like two separate things. Are you positionally sound? Can you stop the advancing positions, the move to side control and then to mount to back control, etc.? And then conversely, in a whole separate realm, is can you defend from the submission itself? Like, can you stop the choke, the armbar, whatever? So I feel like his defense in the submission department is good, where he could maybe use it a little bit better. A little bit of work is in the wrestling department. But again, going against Nurmagomedov, you kind of have to weigh it a little heavy and be like, all right, well, does anybody else pull those off against him? Maybe not. I don't know. Fuck. I did think he looked a little small in comparison to Umar. Umar's fucking big, so again, that's one of those things. It's like, all right, is he going to look that small compared to anybody else? Maybe a hair, maybe a little undersized, but not a ton. Brad Katona's a pretty stout dude, so he may be a little bit bigger than Bekzat, but I don't think it's going to be like Umar. He also, it was impressive how he was able to explode out from underneath Umar multiple times. One, very taxing on the cardio, but two, somebody as strong and technically sound as that, and you're still exploding out from underneath them. It says a lot. I don't think Brad Katona is going to be able to hold him down. He may be able to get him down. Maybe. I definitely don't think he's going to be able to hold him down. I think it's going to be a pretty dominant fight for old Bekzat. I don't really see a whole lot of ways. He's all the way down to a minus 165, too. So he was like a minus 190 or minus 185, something like that. They still have him a minus 185. I think he was even higher on here, but he's steadily coming down. Money's coming in on Brad Katona, and I'm not super sure why. Maybe people think he's going to stall Bekzat out, but I don't see it, man. I think the power goes to Almakhan. I think the speed goes to Almakhan. He's younger. What am I missing here? Clearly something, because the money's coming in on Brad, and I just don't get it. Whatever. Moving on. Marc-Andre Barry. Oh, well, we had Daniel Santos versus Young Lee. I got no dog in this race. Both of them decent fighters. This is one of those scraps. Very similar records. Pretty decent performances in some of their last fights. So it's like, just watch it. Enjoy this one. Should be a good scrap. Old Daniel Wiley Cat Santos. Wiley Cat? 30 years old, 6'2" and 4. And his outcomes are on his wins, 2 decision losses. Young Lee. I think he's a young buck as well. Maybe for a load. 29 years young, so just a year difference between the two. 11-2, 4 knockouts, 3 submissions, 4 decisions, 1 knockout loss, 1 decision loss. So pretty decent outcomes there. TKO loss over Hyder Emil most recently for him. Good scrap. We'll just watch that one. Marc-Andre Barriault, the power bar versus Bruno Silva. I'll pull up my notes on this one. Yeah. So we did take notes on this one. This one I'm pretty familiar with both guys. And when I originally saw it, I was really like, oh, man, this is a no-brainer. Bruno Silva's going to go out there and knock Marc-Andre the fuck out. But I've had a couple of different people when I've watched their breakdowns throughout the week where I'm like, okay, well, maybe I'm missing something. A couple different people pulling for Barriault. So, but you got Marc-Andre. Let me pull him up here on SureDog so you can see his stuff. It's 35 years old, I do believe. My notes are correct. 16-9. 10 knockouts, 1 submission, 5 decision wins. Is that right? 10 knockouts, 1 submission, 5 decision wins. 3 knockout losses, 1 submission loss, 5 decision losses. 3 losses in a row. He's got a split decision to Chris Curtis, KO to Mr. Joe Pfeiffer, and a KO to Dustin Stoltzfus. So two knockouts in a row is pretty nasty. That's another reason why I was initially pretty big on old Bruno Silva by KO. He's got a shitload of experience also, but either way, Mr. Barriault, Mr. Power Bar, pretty, again, kind of a, excuse me, again, kind of a meat and potatoes fighter. He does have a little bit of a longer stance, so I think he's susceptible to the low kick. Bruno Silva has decent calf kicks, so maybe he'll implement some of those and, kind of get him wobbled on his base and then hit him with the big overhand or something. Stoltzfus was able to fuck him up there pretty good as well. Seems like he's one of these guys who's physically strong, but maybe not like the most athletically gifted. Like, he's not particularly fast or explosive. He just seems like he's a strong son of a bitch and fairly durable. Hits hard, but again, he's pretty slow. He likes to clinch. He goes for like the tie, gets the hand on the collar there, and does a lot of uppercuts and hooks. But then in his last fight, that's actually where he got caught. He's done this in the past and had some success. And then Mr. Stoltzfus actually capitalized on that same position and knocked him the hell out. He actually reminds me a little bit of like a Dan Henderson back in the day, but like old man Henderson. He doesn't have the properties, the explosivity of the young Dan Henderson that was still able to wrestle and scrap. So little stiff is old Power Bar. Going against Mr. Bruno Silva here, though. I think both these guys are 35 years old. Let's pull them up. 23-12, though. Guy's got a shitload of experience. 20 knockout wins, 3 decision wins, 7 submission losses, 4 decision losses, 1 other. So never been knocked out. Been cracked and wobbled, though. He is 35, 6 foot. So you got Power Bar coming off of 3 losses in a row. And here you've got Mr. Bruno Silva coming off 4 losses in a row. So it's kind of a do or die for both these guys. 3 decision, 1 submission from Brendan Allen. So at least he's not going out there and getting murked 2 times in a row like old Marc-Andre is. He did go to a decision against Alex Pereira as well, so nobody forget that. Now, has he been the same since then? Not really, but still pretty impressive. Southpaw, he's got kind of an upright, narrow stance. So, like, somebody who's going to be working the takedowns quite a bit is probably going to be able to have some success on him, but I don't... Power Bar is probably going to go for some takedowns, but he's not really all that great at him. He's okay in the wrestling. He'll be able to physically blast through like the first couple, and then once he starts getting tired, I don't know that he's going to be able to have much success in that department. And that's also up to that point. How's his chin holding up? A little slow, pushes his strike some, but he does have good power and lands solid shots. This is kind of the battle of the slow, like plodding middleweights. I do think Bruno Silva probably hits harder if he can land. I'm talking myself back into Bruno Silva after watching multiple people kind of talk me out of him. What are the odds? Bruno Silva. I mean, he's the underdog. By KO, it's probably not going to be all that much better than that, I wouldn't think. Maybe like 200, 250 or something, because I would think that's going to be the way that everybody's going to expect him to win. So we'll see. We'll see on that one. I might try and sprinkle a little bit on Bruno by KO. If the odds are like really nuts, put like a quarter of a unit or something on it, but I wouldn't go too crazy there. That's kind of a toss-up. Oops, smacked the hell out of the mic. My bad. Next up, Navajo Sterling versus Ivan Urslan. 2 guys I'm not super familiar with. Just the initial looks when I was glancing through them, I was leaning towards Navajo, but again, I'm not super familiar with these guys, so we're going to cruise right on past them. Another fight just to sit back and enjoy. Fuck it. Next, Modestas Bukauskas versus Iwan Cutelaba. 2 guys that we've seen a fair few of their fights, so I figure why not break this one down. Pretty fun fighters, 2 aggressive light heavyweights, 2 explosive guys. You got Modestas, 31. I think, again, 2 fighters who are the same age. I believe Modestas, 31 years old, 17-6, 10 by knockout, 3 by submission, 4 decisions. And then he's been knocked out 4 times, 1 submission loss, 1 decision loss. 2 wins in a row, though, 2 finishes as well. It's a submission choke over Marcin Prachnio, which was in a pretty back-and-forth fight, and then a relatively quick knockout in an explosive shootout with old Rafael Teixeira. Dude's pretty jacked, though. Big old boy. Switches stances fairly well, but I think he's primarily orthodox, if I recall correctly. Throws the jab, then the big overhand, likes to like charge in, kind of leads with the chin a little bit when he does that as well. We charge in these exchanges. Got decent kicks, though. Switches it up a little bit. Goes low. Going against a guy here in Iwan Cutelaba, the Incredible Hulk. I think it's just the Hulk. I don't know that he even goes by the Incredible Hulk. 31 years old as well, though, if my notes are correct. Yeah, the Hulk. 6'1", 205, 19-10, so quite a bit of experience between both these guys. 13 knockout wins, 3 submission wins, 3 decisions. 10 losses, 3 by knockout, 4 by submission, and 2 are decision. And then 1 no contest, I believe. I'm trying to remember which one that one was. Was that the Magomed Ankalaev draw? No. It's way earlier. Murad Kanternaev. A referee error. That's interesting. I wonder what happened there back in 2013. Dude's been fighting for a long time. Iwan, though, wild, pretty aggressive fighter. Throws a lot of like big winging hooks. Gets a little nuts with it. His kicks, I almost feel like, are more as a distraction. Sometimes when he goes upstairs, he throws with power, but by and large, he's kind of like flicking them out there to kind of distract you, or almost like panicky. Decent wrestler when he goes for it. He doesn't implement it nearly often enough, I don't think. I think when he actually goes for the takedowns, he gets them pretty well. Does fairly okay on the ground. Maybe he struggles a little bit on the ground with like controlling fighters, keeping them there, and getting the submissions. I know it's very taxing. He seems to struggle a little bit in the cardio department anyway, so maybe that's why he doesn't implement wrestling quite as often. This was a tough fight for me to pick, man. Pretty much toss up on the odds. I think maybe the under wouldn't be a bad one. Could take the under 1.5 rounds. Whoops. Take the under 2.5. We'll do that. Under 2.5 minus 170. I want to type that one out there. Just play it safe. Both these guys, not the greatest chins. Both of them pretty explosive. Both of them been finished several times and have finished people as well several times. So maybe just play the under, let them go out there and beat the fuck out of each other and see what happens. Or just leave this one alone. No reason to not sit out on a fight if you're unsure. Like, it's not going to hurt anything to save your money. Why not? Moving on. Jessica Andrade, number 5 in the women's flyweight division, versus Yasmin Jasudavicius. What number was she? 9? Yeah, number 9. So we got Jessica Andrade here, 33 years old. So in her prime. She's got a lot of mileage on her, though. Jessica Andrade has been around for a long time, so I don't know how much longer we're actually going to have her around. 26-13, though. She's got 10 knockout wins, 8 submissions, 8 decision wins. 13 losses, 5 of those by knockout, 4 by submission, 4 by decision. Most recently coming off a decision loss to Natalia Silva. My notes on Mrs. Andrade. Orthodox, she's a little tank, little powerhouse. I guess she's got the classic fire hydrant build, as they say. Built like a fire hydrant. Nasty lead left hook. She'll very often rip it to the body and then to the head. That one was particularly smooth. I know she'll do it with either side. Like, she'll go left hook, right hook upstairs, right hook downstairs, left hook upstairs. Like, she'll switch it up. But in particular, the combo lead left hook to the body, lead left hook upstairs, both same side at back to back was pretty nasty, pretty good. It's like a little female Wanderlei Silva. She kind of stalks you down, gets you back up against the cage, throws the big hooks, uncorks a couple on you. Some of her famous highlights, like she had the big slam finish over Rose Namajunas. That was pretty nasty. Like, spiked her on her melon. Not the greatest defense. Got a little bit of head movement, but it seems like it's mostly when she's like fucking winging punches. She gets a little crazy. She was getting popped pretty good by Natalia Silva. The chin, it's okay. Like, it's not horrible. It's not great. I guess it's just like mid-tier chin. So maybe if she gets cracked clean on the money, somebody's going to put her away. I don't know that Yasmin Jasudavicius is going to do that. I feel like I'm missing something on this fight here, though. These odds don't make a ton of sense to me. I do think Jasmine, I don't know, I keep saying Yasmin like she's fucking from overseas or something. She's Canadian. Jasmine is probably going to be the bigger fighter. She's older. She's 36, 3 years older. It's not a huge age difference. Definitely doesn't have the same amount of experience as Jessica Andrade. I mean, Andrade has literally double the wins and then like over 4 times the losses. Pretty tall, lean build. It's going to be battle of the builds. You got a short little tank versus kind of a taller, leaner fighter. She's coming off a decision win over Maida Bueno Silva. Like I said, there's going to be a height and reach discrepancy here. Guard, a little bit open. I was noticing she was also getting caught and against somebody like Andrade, who like actually has power for the women's division. I don't know that that's somebody you're going to be wanting to get caught cleanly against and repeatedly. And like I said, she was actually getting caught a decent amount in her last fight. Defense could use a little bit of work. Uh, Also, she was throwing strikes like way the fuck outside of range for seemingly no reason. She'd be way out there and throw a jab out of nowhere, and it's like she's outside of kicking range, let alone punching range. So I don't get it. I was not super impressed with the power or the speed. So I don't get it. Is this a short notice fight or something? At plus 235, I'll absolutely play Andrade. Just a sprinkle. I mean, you don't have to go nuts with it or anything. What do we got here? But you could also maybe play her by KO at plus 550. Like, I would absolutely sprinkle a little bit on that. Not much. Put a quarter of a unit or, a tenth of a unit or something on there. Fifth of a unit. Do that. 2/10, fifth. Good fight, though. Yeah, maybe it's the weight. Maybe it's Andrade coming up in weight. That's maybe going to be the bigger thing. Even with the weight, though, I still think Andrade is the more athletic, explosive, stronger, more powerful fighter out of the two. So we'll see. I could be dead wrong and eat my words here, but we'll see. And then the main fight of the prelims, like the premier fight, if you will, Mr. Mike Malott versus Charles Radke, Canada's own Mike Malott. Excuse me. 11-2 Mike Malott, 33 years old. Let me pull his stats up. 11-2-1. 4 knockout wins, 6 submission wins, 1 decision win, 2 knockout losses to his name. Most recently, a decision win over Trevin Giles, and then prior to that, he got Neil Magny'd by Neil Magny, which, fighters do that sometimes to go out there and get Neil Magny. Happens to the best of us. Southpaw, fairly upright stance, maybe a hair longer than you might traditionally see, but it's pretty close to a standard little stance there. Switches stances fairly well, though. I noticed that as well. He's going southpaw to orthodox, back and forth. Does like to rip the old rear kick to the body and then switch it, goes up high. Got a little like flaily with the kick at times, like he was landing with it wide as well instead of turning the kick over. He's hitting kind of with the side of it at times. Wades in while striking, like kind of walks forward while throwing the strikes and leaves his chin up a little bit while doing so. So I think somebody could eventually counter him on the way in, catch him. Bit flat-footed. He does like to circle out to reset and then kind of settles into his stance for the exchanges. Decent ground game. He has pretty okay jiu-jitsu. It's not like world-class or anything, but it's pretty solid. He gets a lot done, I think, with horsepower, and so then he gasses and gets fucked up by people who are a little bit better, but he's good when he's fresh. Hands get a little low as well, which I don't know if that's a comfort thing or if he just gets low, gets frustrated, and starts trying to throw harder and is opening up. But against somebody with power like Mr. Charlie Radke, I don't know if that's the best thing for you. But going against Mr. Chuck Buffalo, Charles Radke here, 10-4. 5 knockout wins, 2 submission wins, 3 decisions. He's lost twice by knockout and twice by decision. Coming over a KO win over Mr. Matthew Simmelsberger. And prior to that, a KO loss to Carlos Prates, though I will say he was landing on Mr. Prates a fair bit. Chuck Buffalo just seems like a tough dude, whereas Mike Malott strikes me a little bit as a pretty boy. You got old Chuck Buffalo. You could see him in a bar with a cigarette and a brewski playing pool or something. So I guess for every point that Mike Malott is pretty, Chuck Buffalo gets pool bar points, 1-to-1 ratio. Got a nasty lead left hooks. Got, was it his right straight? That was pretty sick as well. Yeah, I have a note. It literally says right straight. It's nasty. Maybe if I just read the next line. Chuck got the power though. His knees to the body was pretty nasty, and with Malott doing the rear kick to the body, makes me wonder if that's something that old Charles Radke is susceptible to, the body shots, then unfortunately that might be a problem. Mike Malott might rip him to the body, but I think the way that Radke closes distance, he's very quick, very light on his feet. He explodes forward. I think he's probably going to catch Mike Malott and put him away if I had to guess. Radke has a decent jab, too. I wish he'd throw it a little bit more. A couple times he was throwing it there against Simmelsberger. He pumped it out a couple times against Simmelsberger and cracked him, and then just went ahead and put him away. But likes to see him working a little bit more. Shoots the knee pick and then goes for like the overhand takedown. Actually, it might have been Prates also who was landing the jab on because that fight lasted a little bit longer. On the ground, I would say Malat probably has the jiu-jitsu edge, but I don't know, man. Radke's never been submitted, and I haven't seen a ton of them on the ground, so I don't want to necessarily jump straight to that conclusion, but I'd take Radke here at plus 145. You could even take him by KO, plus 350. Maybe just play the safe inside the distance, even though I don't necessarily know that he's going to go out there and get a submission. Could play it safe. Does have 2 submission wins, so who knows? Moving on. First fight, this is a short notice one. I don't know jack shit about this Kyle guy. Benoit Saint-Denis, original opponent, pulled out. I'm trying to remember who that was. I can start with a J. Whatever, who cares? I'm not a huge Benoit Saint-Denis fan. Minus 1,000 favorite. You could play Kyle. If he gets the win, you'd play it. You'd make a sick shitload of money, but I just don't know anything about him, so whatever. Alexa Grasso versus Natalia Silva. We got some notes here. Let me pull up Mrs. Grasso. Miss Grasso, 31 years old, 16-4, 4 knockouts, 2 submissions, 10 decision wins. She's been subbed once, 3 decision losses. Most recently lost her belt by decision to Mrs. Valentina Shevchenko. Pretty dominant performance by Valentina. A lot of takedowns, getting like side control and kind of working her pretty good. But Grasso, she's got good boxing, fairly decent hands, a lot of volume. Not like a ton of power, but mixes it up pretty well, throwing the jabs, hooks to the bodies, go upstairs. Really long, straight, just like really extends on the straight hand, gets some good reach on it. Not super strong, but I think she's got like kind of the grappling squeeze. I notice when she gets in good dominant grappling positions, she's able to lock down on people pretty well. And then, of course, she squeezed the ever-loving fuck out of Valentina. Pretty light on her feet, good movement. I think in this fight she's going to need it. Natalia with the Taekwondo background and how mobile she is, there's going to be a lot of moving around and I think a lot of potential for patty cake in this fight. A lot of chasing each other. Active guard though on the ground. Went for a lot of different attacks in like a relatively short time frame. She was throwing like high guard attacks, triangles, arm bars. Went for like a Kimura at one point, trying to wrench it up the back. She had the butterfly at one point. She was going for like elevating the hips, trying to get some sweeps. She had very dexterous hips. I know she was pulling like the like rubber guard type moves and shit like that, where she was again pulling the guard way up the back. So very impressive on the ground. I don't want to say underrated, but perhaps that could be one of the underrated aspects of Alexa Grasso's game. And somewhere where I think maybe she'd have the advantage in this fight. Miss Natalia Silva, though. Taekwondo background. She's 28 years old, so a little bit younger. 3 years here. 18-5. She's got 5 knockout wins, 7 submission wins, 5 decisions, 1 other. 1 knockout loss, 2 submission losses, and 2 decision losses. She's got a shitload of wins in a row, though. Most recently, 3 decision wins in a row. But the most recent one over Jessica Andrade, who we were looking at earlier. Fast, snappy, stabbing punches. I noticed, though, she really stabs him out there real good, real quick. Like I said, good lateral side-to-side movement. This one's going to be a little bit of chasing each other, I think. Pretty good combos when she throws, but I know she was throwing a lot of like single and 1-2 punches, not a lot of volume. I think Grasso definitely throws more combos. Good close side kick to the body. She was able to drop Jessica Andrade with a side kick to the body. Like push her off balance. I'm not saying she dropped her like with a body shot per se, but she shoved her off balance from pretty close range. So that was pretty slick. She did slow some throughout that fight, but not a ton for the amount that she was moving around and the volume and stuff. So I think that was pretty decent. Her cardio held up fairly well. All of a sudden, the clinch, her frame was pretty decent. She was framing up and throwing good knees to the body. I don't know. Her takedown defense was pretty good. I don't know that Alexa Grasso is necessarily going to want to take it to the ground unless she starts getting pieced up on the feet, though I do think she probably has the advantage on the ground. I lean towards Silva a little bit here just because I don't know that Grasso is going to be able to get her down. For the odds, minus 240. Silva decision minus 150. Probably play that. I'll put that down for the odds, but I just don't know that I'd play much in this one. Again, one that you probably just worth watching. Chill, watch that one and enjoy it. Next up, though, and one of the more fun fights of the evening for me, just because I'm a big Jose Aldo fan, we've got the King of Rio, Jose Aldo, versus Ayman Zahabi, known as Firas Zahabi's younger brother, which, I don't know, that might be annoying after a while. The King of Rio, Jose Jr. Aldo, 38 years young, 32-9, a lot of experience, 17 knockout wins, 1 submission win, 14 decisions. Got 4 knockout losses, 1 submission loss, and 4 decision losses. Coming off a split decision to Mario Batista. A lot of people were pretty pissed about that one. Basically because Mario Batista just held him up against the cage. He didn't do diddly dick for the entire fight. And ended up winning it, which most other fighters would lose. So, I don't know. Who cares? We're not going to get into that. GOAT status, though, man. Featherweight GOAT here. And then has since come down to bantamweight. Known for his insane takedown defense. He's got fantastic boxing. Even made a short foray into boxing and did pretty well over there as well. Great leg kicks that he's kind of moved away from, but you're maybe going to start seeing him come back a little bit. You almost don't even need to touch on the leg kicks because they're like so famous for what he did to like Uriah Faber, chewing these guys up. Still looks pretty good though for 38. Like I said, he made his boxing debut and came back and looked a little rusty at first, but he's kind of getting some momentum going again. Seems to have gotten his MMA feet back under him. He's fast, got a good jab, good hooks, of course, good straights. He's explosive as all hell. Pretty good power. He's not like killing people out there, but he cracks them pretty good. Fades in like the longer fights in like a 5-round war, like a wrestle fest or something like that. I'd be a little more concerned, but given the style with which Ayman fights and the fact this is a 3-round fight, I'm not super concerned here. My throat shot. Pretty good head movement as well for old Mr. Jose Aldo. I don't know how much Ayman Zahabi's going to be landing on him. Let's take a look at Zahabi. Like I said, Firas Zahabi's younger brother, so it's good to have that mind in your corner. One of the best minds in MMA, I would say. 37 years old, though, so it's not like he's that much younger or anything. He's 1 year younger. Significantly less experience as well. He's 12-2. Less mileage, but less experience. 7 KOs, 2 submissions, 4 decisions. He's been knocked out once, 1 decision loss as well. Coming off a decision win over Pedro Munoz. Looked pretty decent in that fight. He's got some good side-to-side movement, pretty decent defense. Was shelling up pretty well and rolling with the punches. Did some weird shit where he was like lifting up his lead leg occasionally. I don't know if he was like trying to feint with it or if he was avoiding Pedro Munoz throwing a low kick or something. Did get squared up as well in his stance some. I don't know. Junior Aldo. Jose Aldo ripping to the body might be able to capitalize on that. Squaring up like that makes the body shots a little bit easier to land a little bit cleaner as well. Could maybe throw a knee to the body or something. That's just something I noticed. He squares up a lot when he's like switching stances, and then he kind of like backs up and just squares. He has like a real hunched over, kind of closed up stance as well. Good jab though. He threw a decent overhand. Ripping kicks to the body. More like speed, though, I think, than power. It didn't seem like they were crushing, like, Muay Thai kicks or anything, but he was just, wham, like, flicking them out there real quick. Decent combos as well. Seemed to kind of push his strikes a little more than, like, the snappy, clean strikes you like to see, like a Wonder Boy or something. But kind of got a weird style, man. He bats his hands as well defensively at times. I don't know, maybe... Again, this is one where I look at the odds and it almost makes me wonder, am I missing something? Because I feel like Jose Aldo's got this in the bag. Jose Aldo's going to outclass this dude in just about every facet of MMA. I think he's a better grappler, better striker, probably faster. He's probably more powerful. Unless Ayman gets lucky and catches him with something, I don't see anywhere he's going to beat Aldo. I just don't see it. I would even use him as like a parlay piece or something. Beats me, but I'm glad they're giving Aldo maybe a potential layup. Let's see what happens here. Next up, co-main event of the evening, Valentina the Bullet Shevchenko versus Manon Fiorot. I know everybody's bitching about the pronunciation of her name. I could give two shits. All right. Valentina, 37 years old, 24-4-1. 8 knockout wins, 7 submission wins, 9 decisions. She's got 1 knockout loss, 1 submission loss, 2 decision losses to her name. Coming off that decision win over Alexa Grasso, who we were just talking about 2 fights ago. Extremely well-rounded fighter. Great striking, of course. Great kickboxing. She's got the Muay Thai background. Had a whole career in Muay Thai before she ever came to MMA. She got the great 1-2, the jab, round kicks. She'll throw kicks even upstairs. A lot of round kicks to the body, though. Front kicks to the body. Decent leg kick. She's strong. Built very, explosive. She, not even just in the striking either. Like, in the grappling, she'll grab chicks and just, I don't know where, judo throw, and just wham, slam them to the ground, and then just start hammering them. I do think she's starting to slow down a little bit as she's getting up there in mileage and age. Maybe losing a little bit of the tenacity and her ability to kind of explode and get in the scraps, but she's still, I think, in physicality leagues ahead of most of these gals. Really developed a good wrestling and ground game to match her striking game as she's gone on in her MMA career as well. It seems like she's actually starting to rely on that more, kind of like Wiley, where they came in striking a lot, and as their career has gone on, they've started to implement more of a grappling, ground-based game, which is pretty cool to see. Good at popping, moving out of the way, good clinch work. I don't know. Valentina does everything pretty fucking well. Going against Manon Fiorot, 35 years old. She's 12-1, 6 knockouts, 6 decision wins. She has 1 decision loss to her name. Most recently coming off a decision win over old Erin Blanchfield. Pretty decent win, but it's been over a year. She's taller southpaw. She's got a good jab, lead right hook. Pretty decent combos as well. Okay kicks. She's a little more flat-footed, a little less mobile than Valentina is, I would say. But that generates decent power as a result, being flat-footed like that. Not even flat-footed. She just settles into her stance. She seems pretty strong as well. She, Hulk slammed Erin Blanchfield at one point, but then consequently got herself kind of stuck in a choke. And seemed like it was kind of nasty there for a while. I don't know how close she was to tapping, but she was grimacing pretty bad. Looked pretty nasty. It really, I don't know, man. It kind of surprises me a little bit that Valentina is the underdog here. Quite a bit more experience. She's got double the wins. I think Valentina's the better fighter. Maybe not physically stronger. Maybe Manon's a little bit stronger, but I would play Valentina, man. I'd take her probably by decision. Where is it? Decision. 210. I'll take that. I could see her, picking Manon apart on the outside, chewing her up a little bit, kicking her in the legs, shit like that, pepping her up a little bit, wearing her down, and then as the fight goes on, started implementing the grappling and really wearing on her, grinding her out. I don't know that I'm going to bet on it, but that decision at plus 210 is pretty tempting. I'd be thinking about it. And then the main event of the evening. Last but certainly not least, we've got Belal Muhammad. Remember the name, baby. Versus Jack Della Maddalena. 3-name Jack. Let's pull this up here. All right. Belal Muhammad. Look at him in his shades there. Remember the name. 36 years old. 24-3. He's got 5 knockout wins. 1 submission win. 18 decisions. Good God. Got 1 KO loss. 2 decision losses. Most recently coming off his decision win, winning the belt over Leon Edwards in their rematch last July. So he's been out for a little bit. He's good, gritty grappler, though. He's got good wrestling, clearly very strong, good at dragging dudes to the ground. Got in on the hips on old Leon Edwards and just straight up picked him up and slammed him multiple times. Slammed him on his head at one point that I think it would have knocked other people out. That fucking slam on the head looked like it was nasty. That could shit also jack up your neck and your spine, all kinds of stuff. Seems to have good strength and staying power, though. There towards the end of that fight, he did start fading a little bit, and Leon kind of had him in a pretty compromised position, was on top of him, elbowing him, had him split open pretty good. Hands coming along, not the greatest. Boxing, striking, gets a little wide. a little wide and wild with the striking. Like throws the hooks, gets a little bit out there. I think he could get countered off of those, especially a good boxer like Jack Della Maddalena. But Bilal's got great fight IQ. He knows how to win, much like Brad Katona. So I don't see him going out there and getting caught in an exchange with Jack Della Maddalena. Jack's going to have to kind of force that type of fight. Good pressure, though. Good staying power. Yeah, I mean, what else say about old Belal Muhammad that hasn't already been said? He's going against old Jack Della Maddalena, 28 years young, 17-2, 12 knockout wins, 2 submission wins, 3 decision wins. Got 1 knockout loss, 1 submission loss. Most recently coming off that KO win over Gilbert Burns. It's like a shitload of people that fought in March of last year are now fighting in May of this year. Good boxing, good power, of course. Gritty as hell. That fight with Gilbert Burns was very back and forth. He was getting taken down a fair bit, throwing in the butterflies, working his way back to his feet, and just stayed composed, like stayed in his game plan. Always pressing forward when he had the opportunity to, throwing the strikes, ripping to the body. And just chipping away at Gilbert Burns until eventually he was able to get the TKO with basically one arm, which was fucking nuts. Switches stances some. He's got good combos, good balance, good movement. Seemingly always has his feet pretty well underneath him and pretty balanced where he can load up and throw a big shot. You don't see him like scrambling and getting way overexposed. Or at least nobody's been able to force that upon him so far. Face is beat absolutely flat. That dude's nose is obliterated from striking. So I don't necessarily see him going out there and getting punched and having a nose break and that being a problem with as bad as it already is. It's like, all right, that's pretty much done. Not the greatest takedown defense against a guy like Belal Muhammad. I think that could present a problem. We could very well see Belal go out here and just do a grindy 5-round decision snooze fest where he just grinds the shit out of Maddalena. I think that's unfortunately very possible. Maddalena's, I think, got a jiu-jitsu black belt, but you just don't see him throwing up a ton of submissions and landing a lot of shit. But he's got a pretty active guard. Like I said, he does the butterfly hooks and shit like that. I worry, is he going to gas himself getting taken down? Maybe not. But then will he gas himself exploding to get back up to the feet? It's like one or the other, or trying to stuff the takedowns. We'll see, man. We'll see. This is a tough one for me to call because the age difference is there as well. Pretty strongly in favor of Jack Della Maddalena. That's a pretty significant difference. Belal training with Khabib's, crew is something worth at least considering. I think if you're going to play this one, personally, I'd probably sit it out. But if you're going to play it, you can always hedge this out. Do a Belal decision, Jack KO, something like that. Belal decision, even money, Jack KO, 325. There you go. You could do like a fifth of a unit on Jack, third of a unit on, a full unit on Belal, eighth of a unit on Belal, something like that, and like a half or a third on Jack. You're good. Come out ahead so long as one of those hits. You are good to go. You're covered. So that is it. UFC 315, pretty solid card, good fights. A lot of actually pretty solid bets too. There's quite a few that I'm fairly convicted on this card, which feels like the last few cards we've had some that we're not like super sure on. So maybe do like a 2 units on Jose Aldo and maybe 2 units on Bexat and call it a night. Call it a wrap. But that's it for the breakdown. Throw me a like, comment on the video, subscribe, all that good kind of stuff. It helps. We will be back. I think next week there's a card, so we'll be back. Maybe do a recap, something like that. But that's it. Enjoy the card. Peace out.